Hi, this is Wayne here with Tri-County Locksmith Service, and today I'm going to be going over the basics of knife sharpening. We took a buck knife like this, and we gave it a better than factory edge right out of the box. And this video is going to be posted to a bunch of different sharpening applications that I'm going to be doing in the future. So if you've already seen this part, go ahead and fast forward to the next part of the video to get that individual, but this is going to be the basics upon all the knife sharpening that we're going to be doing. The first thing that we need to go over is having, when this knife came out of the box, it had a single edge. It's probably about 20 to 25 degrees on either side, giving it about a 40 to 50 degree angle total. That's this here. That means that it has one angle and it goes directly from the knife edge, the blade, to the edge. What I like to do to get this sharper is put this dual edge on here. And we do that by first making the back cut. The back cut really takes a bunch of material away and then really allows you to get at that edge and put the stronger 20 degree edge back on the very tip. So what we're talking about with the back cut is the main part here, taking away most of the material, and then that dual edge is just going to be the very, very tip that really interacts with everything, giving it that 20 to 25 degrees again, but giving it to it up here. And then when we go to sharpen it again, you have plenty of room to move and to bring that edge down. When you get it out of the factory, it just isn't going to have that. So we can explain that a little bit more by looking at this razor blade. And this razor blade is a great way to kind of show exactly what I'm trying to do here. So if you look at the razor blade, you'll see that there are two separate edges on here. And we can roll it down that way to really see it. And this would be the back cut here, and then this would be the main edge up here. And this is what we're after. This is what we're trying to mimic. If you're going to try and improve something, you might as well improve it with the best. And, everything is referred to as razor sharp. Well, there's a reason for that. It has to have a thin edge to be able to split and cut through things, but it also has to have that secondary bevel to be able to toughen it up so it's not just ruined instantly. That's what that secondary bevel does, is it toughens it up and makes it a little bit, well, quite a bit stronger. And you can see based on this right here, what I'm trying to talk about is this would be a single edge. We can look at it over here too. This would be your single edge. And you can see it's just one edge that goes directly from the body to the tip. This would be our double bevel edge right here. This has the main back cut with about a 13 to 15 degree angle, and then we come back and we put that 20 to 25 degree. We could even go 30 degree, whatever you like for this main edge here. And that's really going to give this the strength and rigidity to hold up to the abuse. And then when we come back in and we sharpen this again, we're not going to have all this thickness, this giant thickness right here to deal with. We're going to be right back to getting on that edge and getting there and polishing it. Now, if we just left it without coming in and putting the secondary edge on here, then you would have this. And it's just too thin and too fragile. So if you try and use this to cut on something, it's going to damage that edge pretty quickly, whereas this one's going to hold up to it much, much better. These are the main basics that I'm talking about with this stuff. As far as what you want to use, I've made my own little custom machine for knife sharpening, based off of some other designs that I've seen, and kind of made my own. I use stones. I use the India stones for polishing. I use the Arkansas stone for the beginning of polishing and material removal, and then we use these oil stones here to really take some of the heavier duty material off of there. You can use sandpaper, and I do too. This is what I use when I really, really want to get a nice, even, controlled edge. We'll start out with a 320 like this, Then we'll go to the 600 like this, and we'll go to the 1200, and we'll go to the 2000. And that's about as far as I'm going to go with it, is the 2000. And then we go on to the polishing machine. You can get your knife razor sharp with this 2000 grit paper. I knocked a ounce off the weight that it took to sharpen this knife. And what I mean by that is, you took a string, you wrap the string around the blade, and then you hang weights on it until it breaks. And this knife out of the package was about a 5. By the time we got done with it, with this secondary edge, it was at a 4. So we lost an entire ounce of weight, which is pretty much, you know, what that razor is. That's really the way you really tell how sharp something is by adding weight to force an object through it. Then you're going to be able to get a scientific answer as to how much force it takes to pull that through there, rather than just cutting paper. Cutting paper doesn't tell you anything about anything. It tells you if it's fairly sharp, and then that's about it. So these are going to be the basics. This is what we're going to be going over. We're going to be using these tactics on all of our sharpening videos. So check it out, pay attention. I hope it helps out, and it'll really make your knife sharpening experience so much easier if we can get rid of that main amount of material, get that acute edge, and then come back and start working on the main edge. That's just going to save you guys a ton of time and a ton of money, you know, trying different things. You know, just going over different sharpening materials. Oil stones, I like. India stone, Arkansas stone, and these are just Norton stones. They're about 20 bucks a piece. You can get a clear Arkansas stone, that's about 80 bucks a piece. You know, that's kind of an introductory way to do it. On the cheap, and really producing some of the best edges that I've been able to do, is sandpaper. I mean, it is unbelievable. Each one of these comes in a giant pack like this, and you can get this at your local hardware store. 2000, 1200, 600, and 320. That's just a good number to start at, and it just creates such a nice edge. It's easy to work with. It uses a silicon carbide as the abrasive, which is super hard. So unless you're sharpening a ceramic knife, this stuff's going to work great on any blade. I highly recommend using the sandpaper with a block of wood. It's going to produce some of the nicest edges you've had, and you'll really be surprised on how long it lasts. You know, this is designed, you can wash this off. This is designed to be wet paper too, and you just simply wash the material off when you're done, and it flushes out all the metal that's in there, and it actually, you can use it 2, 3, 4 times without it wearing out. And this stuff is $5 a piece. So for 20 bucks, you can get all the different grits that you need to be able to really start putting fine quality edges on your knives and your cutlery. It's going to work on everything from kitchen knives, fillet knives, pocket knives, everything. You know, using that system, we can actually put a razor edge on a razor better than factory, just with sandpaper. So that's a great cheap way to get started and get involved with it. Of course, there's diamond stones. Diamond stones are great. They last a long time. They're just really expensive. I have one for my kit, but I don't use it that much simply because it's only one. If I had the full set, I would use it more, but I don't right now. Water stones are great. Water stones don't last as long, and they require a little bit more maintenance because the aggregate that holds them together is actually designed to stick together less than these oil stones. That's kind of the difference between an oil stone and some of the water stones, is the aggregate is designed to break apart more on a water stone, so you get that fresh sharp edge of the abrasive cutting each time you do that. But you also have to flatten your stones back out, and they're a little expensive to get into too. You know, 30 bucks to 80 bucks per stone, and you can go from 6 to 8 stones. You can go all the way to a 10,000 grit stone. So water stones are really nice if you really want to do some polishing. maybe you've got some you know, really fancy show pieces, show knives, swords, things like that. It might be worth investing in that Waterstone and really being able to put the polish on there to where you can see everything as a mirror polish on that edge. Ceramic stones are good. They're pretty cheap too, about $10 to $50, just depending on what you get. I've got a couple of those for doing serrated knives. They work on just about everything. You can usually get those in a coarse, medium, a medium, fine, and extra fine as well, and they seem to last a really long time. So that's what's really nice about those. The carbide V sharpeners, just don't even waste your time or money. It's not going to do you any good. It's going to scar the blade, and it's really going to kind of ruin the knife. If it's super, super dull, it'll make it seem like it's sharper, probably make it a little bit sharper, but they're really not a good idea. So this is the basics. Check it out. I hope this helps some people out, and it really took putting it out and laying it out like this for me to understand how to sharpen the knife and be able to put these razor sharp edges on in just a few minutes, as opposed to sharpening for hours before and not being able to accomplish the same goal. So edge, abrasive, and double bevel angle, and it'll make a perfect edge every time. For more information, go to www.tricountylocksmithservice.com. Thank you. Buck knife that's pretty much brand new right out of the package. We'll see how much weight that can handle, and we'll go from there. Basically, we'll do our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ounces on that one. Alright, so we got some 40 grit paper loaded up on here. The reason I like that 40 grit paper is because it's going to provide a nice surface to remove a lot of material and take a lot of the time out of this, and it's also going to keep the blade cooler because it's not going to, it's going to be taking away a big chunk instead of just a bunch of little ones. If you were to do this with a finer paper, you'd be pressing harder, and it would create heat, and heat is the enemy when you're sharpening knives like this. So one of the first ones we'll do this buck knife that was brand new, pretty much right out of the package, and we'll go ahead and see what we can do with that. I want to set it right up in there, just kind of using one of these louvers right here as one of my guides. There's not a specific angle. You just want to lay it back much more than a 20-degree angle, and then that way we can come back in with the 20-degree later and get that nice and sharp from there. What we're going to do is just like that. And you can begin to see how that edge is coming back. And I can feel a burr on this side, so it's time to switch it over. And you can begin to see how we're really laying that back, just like that, to do the next phase. Okay, so that's going to be it for that one. Then we're going to switch to the 220 grit, and we'll do the same thing with that. Alrighty, now we got our 220 grit paper loaded up on here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to try and get rid of some of that large scarring that would be on the blade, and kind of polish that up a little bit. So we'll start out with this one right here. We'll turn the machine on, and we're just going to basically polish up a little bit what we did earlier. should be able to see the difference in the paper, or in the blade, I mean, right away. You can see how that's taken away the larger 40 grit markings on there. It just takes a little bit to do it. Not much at all. So that's what we're getting right there. That feels good. We'll hit it one more time on this side, and that'll be That's what we've got right there. That's going to be much improved, take away most of the work on that. And so we can get in there and just get the main edge finished up. Hello, this is Wayne with Tri-County Locksmith Service, and this is our buck knife that we had. We had it pretty much right out of the package, did a sharpness test on it, and now we're going to be putting the final edge on it. Basically what we did was we cut the edge much narrower, so we cut a bunch of the meat off of that with the sander, with the electric sander. We did that to where it wouldn't generate a lot of heat and ruin the steel, ruin the edge. Now we're going to do the end of the edge by hand. This is just kind of a home-built kit that we made here to go ahead and rub all these different stones on here. And let's see here. And we'll be able to see exactly what kind of angle we want to put on here with this. So just got some basic stones. These were just cut in half and then epoxied to some 3/8 ID aluminum piping, and they just slide right on like so. And so this thing extended pretty much at the maximum angle here is going to be roughly about a 25-degree angle from, let's see, so yeah, we're looking at about 25 degrees right there. I don't know if I can get that on there or not. Close to. And then this one is close to as well. About like that. So we'll go ahead and tighten these down. Like so. And then basically what I want to do is with this 25 degrees, that's going to combine to a 50-degree angle. That's going to be a little bit more utilitarian oriented knife edge. But what it's going to do is it's going to take off the edge that's too thin right now, and it's going to go ahead and let us use this edge. Right now it's too thin, but the main part of the meat is already out of the way, so when we do this we won't have to do it very much. So you can swirl, you can stroke like so. You can go up, you can come down. Basically all you really need is something to hold an angle at. You could do this by hand by taking the knife on the stone, doing it either way, and that would produce the same result. Once again, the main part of the meat is gone, and out of the way. The main work is done. Now we just need to work on refining this very, very fine edge. And we're going to start with, this is just a rough stone. This was one of those two-tone stones that you get. It was simply cut in half and then cut in half this way to make both of these. And you can actually kind of feel, we had a burr on there before, we don't now. Move it over this way. You can almost watch the steel bend as you do this. It's kind of cool to watch once you really get into it and see what exactly it is you're doing. And so I'll just do this a little bit. Till I can kind of see exactly what we got going on here. This edge a little bit, this tip. I'll go and flip it over. This is the smoother side. Main thing this contraption does is it keeps a smooth angle and allows you to transfer back and forth instead of working one edge at a time. You can kind of see what we got going on here. You can keep it right down the middle, so you're not really working one side until you have to get a burr over here and then really working the other side and flipping the knife over. It's really nice just now set those down. These are all oil stones, by the way. That's the route I decided to go. You can go with water stones. You can actually do just about anything once you get this set up. Anything you can fix these contraptions to. But for right now, what I wanted to do was use these oil stones. You can kind of make sure that your edges are going to be nice and flat. Rub these together. And the oil stones was just a simpler process for me. You can use wet stones all the way down to, you know, super fine grits. But I just didn't feel that necessary right now. I'm going to be using this blade. It's going to be getting beat up, and I'm going to be back in here sharpening it. So I'm not going to spend that much time on having it absolutely perfect. So what this does is this is a much finer stone. This is an India stone, oil stone, and it's going to start polishing this edge. Okay, so we can kind of use these swirling motions. You can use up and down, whatever you want to do, and then this is going to really start putting this nice edge on this. Once again, get the main grain gone from the last grit with the circle motion, and then you can really begin to work that back and forth and back and forth with this, and just really get a nice polish on there. You really want to make sure we get this tip nice and polished up. And I can already begin to see the difference in the color on that very edge. Now I'm going to take these off. We're going to come back, and this is the final step. Same thing. This is a Arkansas stone. Same thing. Main stone, cut in half, put on here. Works out really good. And we'll just like that, and that, and that. in that. And now we have a very nice edge put on here. That will definitely be sharper than factory. If you want to, you know, you can even go a step further and go ahead and bring this thing in a little bit and continue to polish the edge down as we go down. I mean, it's something you can do. I'll just give a little demo of it right now. We're not even on the edge anymore. Basically, we're just polishing further down, and we're making that convex type of edge. So right now we've got a double bevel edge, right? And we're just polishing this into the next angle, and you can polish it into the next one, and the next one, and the next one as we get narrower, but we're not working on the actual cutting edge right now. We're actually coming in and in and in, working on just keeping it nice and polished, so whatever it comes in contact with, it is definitely going to be polished up. That's kind of the key to this whole sharpening thing, is getting things nice and polished and smooth. The blade has a better tendency to cut if it is a smooth surface. The rough surface is creating drag, making the knife not cut as well. So come right up to where that's just barely going to hit. Again, we're not even working on the cutting edge, we're just convexing everything down and blending it with the rest of the knife here. That is all we're doing. But it is going to help. It's going to make that more of a rolled angle, and it's going to just help it slide right through just about anything. So we'll check this out. I'll get a string ready, and we'll see if this helped. Alright, now without doing any stropping or polishing like that, we're going to go ahead and start weighing this thing up and seeing where we're at. Oop. Four. So already, before we even go do polish, these are 1 ounce weights. This was at 5 ounces, and right now it's at 4. So that's a definite improvement right there. We can kind of go over some of this blade and see if we can get some of this on there. Let's see if we can see what we see here. Let's see what we've done along that edge. And you can see how we started to bring the polish up a little bit, and now when we use this blade, we'll be able to come back and sharpen this many times before we'll have to set that bevel back like we did earlier. You can really see that shine come on there. And once we put this on the polisher, we'll put this on the buffing wheel. We'll do a couple different buffing compounds, really buff that out, and then this thing is going to be wicked sharp. I mean, it's just razor sharp right there. Just chop the hair right off your arm. So and that's really the only way to tell exact sharpness. We've lost an ounce from factory sharpness just by doing this. So it's definitely worth it. And now it's ready to take, 10 more sharpenings before we have to grind that bevel back again. So for more information, go to www.tricountylocksmithservice.com.